Two behemoths have been spore struck, causing them to drastically change not only their looks but their attacks as well. So today, we're going to learn how to tackle the spore struck behemoths Embermane and Charog in this week's Behemoth Breakdown. To begin this breakdown, let's talk about spore struck Embermane and what you should be prepared to see when fighting this beast. To start, this Embermane behaves a lot like Stormclaw. It has both its swipe and bite added to its moveset and will frequently use them to attack slayers. Luckily for us, this does make this behemoth very predictable, especially since moves such as its tailspin and headbutt have been removed from its arsenal. Now this does make this hunt sound easy, but Embermane on the other hand has a few new tricks to keep us on our toes. First up, Spore-struck Embermane can summon rocks in the air and use them as stepping stones to pounce on slayers from above. To avoid this, simply dodge just as the behemoth starts to descend. And once Embermane impacts the ground, an Aether Vent will spawn, granting you the ability to mount the behemoth. On to the next set of moves you need to watch out for are its Aether Charge attacks, which basically gives Spore-struck Embermane earthbending abilities. One ability will allow the behemoth to build up a wall of rocks on both sides to trap slayers inside so it can charge towards them. Just know this is a great opportunity to get an interrupt on the behemoth if you're willing to take the risk. Another similar move, the behemoth will create floating rocks on both sides of the player and slam them together to crush those in between them. And last, Spore-struck Embermane will unearth a bunch of rocks in the surrounding area into the sky before slamming them back down. To avoid this attack, stay away from the spots emitting a green aura. If in the event you're underneath one, you will have to correctly time your dodge to keep yourself from taking any damage. Moving on to the other spore-struck behemoth, Charog, expect to see a ton of poison involved. If you're not familiar with the poison debuff, a bar will appear towards the bottom of your screen that will fill up the longer you stay in poison. This does small ticks of damage, but once the bar is full, the poison debuff will start inflicting more damage and continue to do so even when you're far away from the poison. This makes Toxic Toss, Poisonous Gas, Venomous Rain, and Belly Flop moves you'll want to be extra cautious with. So how do you evade these potentially deadly attacks? Here's how you can avoid them. Starting with Toxic Toss, the behemoth will gather poison in one of its hands and toss it at one of the players. Due to the time it takes for Charog to toss the poison, it's really easy to evade. Just don't get hit, otherwise you'll instantly be inflicted with the debuff. On to the next move, Poisonous Gas is Spore-struck Charog's Aether Charge state. It may not build up your poison meter quickly, but due to the knockback it has, it can be rather annoying. Positioning and well-timed dodges will be key to avoiding this gas and any possible attacks that may follow up while it's active. Plus, if you much rather just get rid of the gas entirely, you could break the vents above the behemoth's arm to prevent Charog from being able to release gas from that part. Up next, Venomous Rain is an attack that bombards the area with poison, so pay close attention to when Charog slightly bunches up, since this will be the sign it's about to fling the poison in the air with its tail. Based on my experience, I've only ever seen this move during its enraged state. Another move you will have to watch out for is its Belly Flop. Charog will do this by jumping and landing on its belly, releasing gas after its impact. Avoiding this move isn't too difficult, but make sure you're not trying to dodge towards the vents on the behemoth's body. Now that we have its poison attacks out of the way, let's talk about the other moves in its arsenal. Starting with Slam, this move now has a swipe that follows up after it, and just like Venomous Rain, I've only seen this attack when it's enraged. As for its ram and its tail sweep, these moves overall haven't really changed, but be aware the hitboxes for these moves do activate a little early. Backhand, however, has a much slower windup before swiping. It took me a few times before I got the timing down since I was so used to dealing with Firebrand, so my advice is just to take your time and watch when the arm starts to move. Next, we have the brand new move, Outrage, which is currently only used by Spore-struck Charog. It will lift up its arms, stomp the ground, and then swing furiously towards a player. It's an Aether Charge state move, and this does spawn a mounting vent. If you're directly in front of the behemoth during this attack, you can dodge straight through the behemoth to avoid taking damage. I know these spore-struck behemoths can be troublesome for those who go into this fight blindly, so I hope all the information I have given you will aid you in future spore-struck encounters. Thank you everyone for watching, and I hope to see you in Dauntless.